everyone, I'm Maya Palacio for Media Maya, partnering with Channel 82, and today I have with us Ajai Peets, who is the co-founder of Bermuda Youth Connect. Ajai, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I'm so excited that you're here because honestly, there's been a lot of talk on the island about the national debate that you and other people are partnering with to try to make happen on the island. Now, a big question that's coming up a lot is why do we even need a national debate?
Well, I can speak from anywhere. I personally believe that a debate is a part and should be a part of democratic processes. It's a great opportunity to see our leaders in action and speaking about various forms of issues and a lot of issues that are not really said, and just kind of display their platform in that capacity. And it also shows their leadership qualities, and it will help uninformed voters like myself and other young people to make a better decision to move forward.
Nice, thanks for that. There is, however, a question that did come to me a few days ago, and I'm going to bring it to your attention because it actually made me curious to know what your opinion would be on it. Someone actually said, I don't think that Bermuda needs a national debate, mainly because us and our generation actually should be more accessible to being able to read their forums and read up on all the information, and that some of us are just not taking that opportunity. So calling for a national debate as a way of, let's say, laziness on our part for not going to find the information ourselves. What do you say about that?
I do agree to some of those sentiments in terms of, as a voter, you should go out and research your candidates in your constituencies and also read up in different issues, because at the end of the day, everything that happens in this country affects all citizens, no matter what age demographic you are in. I can also speak to the fact that I believe that our generation is one of the most socially conscious generations of our time. And due to social media and everything, we're so in tune with everything that goes on a global scale. So I don't necessarily think that we're lazy. I think that certain information isn't out in the public, or it may be hard to find and research. And I also think it is the duty of our leaders or different political campaigns or different things such as that, just to put all that information out on the table and give that opportunity for the young people to have access to it.
Mm-hmm. And talking about like leadership and also access to information, like so many politicians in our generation have like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and so we connect with them quite easily on that type of medium and platform. Other persons of our generations might not take that avenue. But my question to you is, because of this general election that's coming really quickly, a lot of new profiles have been made for new candidates coming in. How do you feel about, the use of technology and the use of social media being kind of like the very first thing that most people do now coming into being candidates? They make a new platform. Do you think it's genuine at all that they're just starting a page and then putting out information, or is it kind of forced? Like, what do you think about it?
I believe the direction is a good sentiment in terms of outreaching in that capacity to reach our young people, because most of us are on Instagram and Facebook, and that is a great platform to use in terms of reaching out and also to spark conversations and engage with our young people. I believe that something like this should continue, and it shouldn't just be a platform used just around election time or just when they feel fit. If you're going to start something like this and engage in conversations, it should move forward and not stop.
And as we know, once you put someone on social media, it's there for life. So actually recently, Minister Jason Hayward actually had posted, I am committed to the gender pay gap. He wants to make sure that that's equal across our boards. Now, saying something like that and a statement like that is pretty powerful. And how do you feel about people putting out promises like that?
And it's just a hard time, and that's how I feel about elections. It really makes me scratch my head sometimes in terms of what is actually genuine. Are these false promises? What's actually going to come into fruition and really take place? Are you just saying these things to entice my vote? These are all topics that I'm very passionate about, and these are issues that have been in the limelight for decades. That's been a fact that women are paid. So in comparison to men, it's unbelievable the amount of the difference. And I applaud him for putting that out and saying that he will work towards that. But, you got to back it up. You got to make that happen.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And my last question be to you about the call for a debate. I do want to travel back to that. Election's coming up in like days now, days. And where do you stand on the belief that this is something that could actually happen before it happens?
And that's a question that everybody is asking, and it's definitely something that we are still striving to put out in any form of capacity, because we believe that something of this nature needs to be put out to inform all voters, and also to inform our young people specifically, because that's where I'm mostly speaking to. I'm representing the young people, and I feel as though that this will be beneficial because a lot of our young people don't really pay too much attention to certain issues, and this will be an opportunity to put everything out on the table and to have an opportunity to learn about different new things.
And an opportunity for our politicians to say it right there and then instead of waiting to post it later or anything like that.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay. And we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, everyone. Maya Palacio here from Media Maya, partnering with Channel 82. Now, I have the co-founder of Bermuda Youth Connect with us, Ajai, and right now we're actually going to play a little game to get to know a little bit better. All right, Ajay, you ready? There's going to be some serious questions. Okay.
I'm ready.
So it's called What's More Bermudian? Here we go. Loquats or cherries?
Oh, loquats.
Ice Queen or Mr. Chicken?
Growing up, Mr. Chicken, definitely.
Rental bike or Twizzy?
Rental bike.
Gumbays or majorettes?
Gumbays.
Match Me If You Can leaves or aloe?
Match Me If You Can leaves.
Road rash or muffler burn?
Road rash.
Honeysuckles or parrotfish?
Honeysuckles.
Pink sand or the reefs?
Pink sand.
Rooftops or Bermuda grass?
Rooftops.
Johnny Bonds or codfish and potatoes?
That is hard. Both equal. Okay, I'll have to go with codfish and potatoes. I'm sorry.
Dark and stormy or swizzle?
Swizzle.
Carnival or cup match?
Cup match.
A bus or a ferry?
Bus.
Bermuda shorts or polo shirts?
Bermuda shorts.
And last song I'm gonna do on you is soca or reggae?
Soca.
Soca, okay. Awesome. And we'll be back right after this. Hey everyone, and welcome back. So I'm still here with Ajai Peets, co-founder of the Bermuda Youth Connect, and I want to get to know a little bit about her team in general. So Ajai, tell me a bit about who your team consists of and what they do.
So we're a group of young women. Teray Tall, Veronica Swan de Graaf, and Haley Tiert. We are all former youth parliamentarians. So we've been politically engaged from the start, but we came together to form this group because we felt that there was a need to bridge the gap between the young people of Bermuda and our leaders.
Now, there's all females on this team, correct?
Yes, but we have reached out to many others as well for support and guidance, and that transcends all backgrounds and gender as well.
Awesome. But for your group initially, were there other like younger males who may have been interested, or did they not want to join? Did you ask?
We're also a group of friends as well, so we've known each other for years, and that's really what brought us together, was our connection from Youth Parliament.
Is there any way other persons could actually join your organization?
Yes, and we're looking to expand our group because this isn't just for us, it's for everybody, and we want to hear other people's voices, their ideas, and because we want to move this forward and expand to all age groups as well. Because as of now, our target was 18 to 36, but we will soon expand to younger age groups as well.
Okay, so but is your cap still, because it is Bermuda Youth Connect, so
Right.
would your cap still be at that 36?
Right, so we did define youth as 18 to 36 primarily for our event, for our voting youth group. But we will incorporate high school age kids, middle school age kids as well in the future as well.
Because primarily, if the audience doesn't already know, it is the younger generation that sometimes doesn't have, that isn't registered to vote, put it that way, and doesn't come out to vote. So with this, hopefully the initiative is to get more young people registered and even taking part in voting and using their rights, right?
I agree. And we feel as though that this group is so important now than ever. And everybody keeps asking the question, like, why now? Why before the election? And this has been an idea of ours for a very long time. We just felt that now was the best time to do it, especially during this snap election. This election happened so fast and didn't really give people the opportunity to really think about how to vote and all the different issues that are not really out on different platforms. And we're creating a space for people to come and educate themselves on how to look up their constituent candidates, how to vote, how to, like, different questions to ask, different things to consider. So we are looking to expand our borders and just really empower the young people of Bermuda.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. And I want to ask you, because of all the information that you are putting out and helping other young people to understand what's really going on, can I ask you, did all the members of your group, did you guys all go to the same high school at all? Or?
No, we all went to different schools. So I attended Saltus Grammar School, Veronica and Haley attended the Bermuda Institute, and Trey attended Berkeley Institute. So we all went to different schools because Youth Parliament is made up of all high schools on the island. So it was a great opportunity then and there to be exposed to the life of politics and to learn about how it works, and also to gain friendships from different schools and just experience different outlooks.
So would you say that any of you guys, if you guys had this conversation, actually learned about politics while you were in your school?
No, it wasn't until, personally for me, I could speak for myself, that I didn't really learn it until I got into Youth Parliament. I learned so much that I didn't even know actually occurred in Parliament. I didn't know how the structure of it happened and how it was laid out in terms of the operation and what actually takes place. So I didn't know that until Youth Parliament,
Yeah, because I feel like there is this gap in our education system as well, and I hear it often, that we just aren't learning how politics even works. And like you said, coming up with this group right before an election. And if I can get your opinion also as to, do you think the Premier calling an election during a pandemic, during the hurricane season, was this a smart move?
Well, that's up to him and his advisors. I mean, he has a right, to call an election at any point. So it could have been 2 years from now, a year from now. Was this an appropriate time? It's up for debate. I personally believe, as a young voter, it would have been best personally to call it during the summertime when most of our students were here and able to vote.
Yeah, because now he's actually leaving a lot of persons who couldn't be able, I know you said earlier that one of the members on your team won't even be on the island, correct?
Yes, but I am appreciative that they did create advanced polling to allow students who were here before the election to have an opportunity to vote. But still, a lot of students weren't able to meet that window.
And also with the registry being a short date time to...
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of young people didn't even know that they were registered or how to register to vote. So by the time, I believe the deadline was August 29th, they weren't able to register themselves to vote. So now they have to wait till the next election, and they're unable to make their voice heard by voting.
And my last thing also to say is that when it comes to registering to vote and being, young in Bermuda, and it's still new to us, and not really having so much information at schools for us to even know when to. Do you think that having it implemented that once someone turns 18, they should automatically register themselves to vote?
I believe that it shouldn't be upon us as citizens to even register ourselves. I agree that it should definitely be automatic registry in terms of as soon as you go 18 that it's valid. And I also agree that, that there needs to be more information on how to register to vote, which is why throughout this time on our platform, we've been putting out that information on how to register to vote. Go onto the Parliamentary Registry website to see if you're registered, and putting out that information because it's not advertised as much as it should be.
Awesome. And thank you for that. And we'll be right back after this. Welcome back, everyone, and we're going to jump into another game called What Politician Tweeted This? All right, so first one, I'm going to give you the tweet, and I'm going to give you 3 options as to who may have tweeted it. All right. He complained about spending $30K on a by-election, but then calls a general election 2 years early that will cost near $1 million during COVID, and that's okay. Typical Bert-onomics. Was it A, Catherine Kemp of OBA, B, Craig Cannoneer, opposition leader of OBA, or C, Desmond Crockwell, candidate for FDM?
Well, I definitely know it's not Desmond Crockwell, so it's definitely somebody from the OBA. My guess would be Craig Cannoneer.
You are incorrect. It's actually Catherine Kemp of OBA.
Okay.
The next one, so I feel like you're going to get this one. I am fully committed to closing the gender pay gap. Was it A, Minister Jason Hayward, PLP, B, Premier Paula Cox, PLP, or C, Susan Jackson, JP-MP, OBA?
The Honorable Jason Hayward, MPJP.
All right, so next tweet. Success has many fathers and failure is an orphan. While this was a projected performed at Premier's direction, and while there was due diligence performed by technical officers, I am going to do what most politicians won't. Take responsibility. This should never have happened. Was it A, Collingwood Robinson of FDM, B, Premier David Burt of PLP, or C, Jamal Simmons, MP?
Well, that tweet sounded very personal, so I feel as though it was David Burt, the Premier.
Incorrect.
Are you serious?
It was actually Jamal Simmons.
Oh.
C. And he tweeted it just today or yesterday, and it had to do about the $800,000.
Right, I know. Yeah.
All right, next one. Don't people understand what is at stake? How could anyone go on a party bus? Was it A, Wayne Keynes of PLP, B, Patrice Miners of FDM, or C, Vic Ball of OBA?
Vic Ball of OBA.
Wrong again. That was Wayne Keynes.
I'm horrible at this.
And the last one I'm going to give to you. Hopefully you get this one right. You only got one right so far. It's sad watching politics divide us so easily along racial, economic, and social lines, especially during a time where unity is so important. Just a reminder, COVID-19 doesn't care how you vote. When this is all said and done, let's work together, okay? Was it A, Senator Dwayne Robinson, B, Minister Diallo Bain, or C, Mark Bean of FDM?
Was it Dwayne Robinson?
It was Dwayne Robinson of OBA.
That made me feel so much better.
Well done, awesome. Thanks so much for that. That was a lot of fun, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back, everyone, and I'm still here with Ajai Peets, the co-founder of Bermuda Youth Connect. And right now, we're actually going to go into representation, and the first one we're going to talk about is women in politics. Now, Ajai, how do you feel about the representation right now in this current government?
Well, if you look at it statistically wise, the FDM shows a proper representation of women. And I feel as though that our government should be a reflection of what our society looks like. And our population is majority women. It's just slightly over 50%, I believe. And if you look at the OBA and the PLP, it doesn't really reflect that. I know that they have expressed that they're looking into expanding it and opening their doors to everybody of all walks of life. But I feel as though there still needs to be work done.
Yeah.
And that's a global thing as well. It's not just in Bermuda. There needs to be more women in politics, I believe.
But why do you think that more women aren't in politics right now? Do you think it's a lack of interest, or do you think it's more of, never giving that opportunity of being talked to?
I think it's a mixture of many different components: opportunity, exposure, or just maybe even stereotypes. I feel as though a lot of our women representatives are not given the opportunities to have portfolios, and most of them are given to men. Most of them, if they do win their seat, are just representatives.
Exactly. And also when it comes to like women in politics, as you mentioned, the discrepancies of each party, FDM does have a little bit over 50%, I believe, and then PLP, OBA have a lack. They said that they're working on it, but let's be real, we're in the year 2020 now. Right. And how long have they been telling people that this is something that they're working on and it's just not coming into fruition? So what is, your opinion on the statement saying that this is something they're working on, but again, like I said, year 2020?
I think that they need to take a look at their candidate interviewing process and lean more towards a more diverse outlook, and also consider more women who are interested. And a lot of women I believe in most of the parties are in administrative roles or on boards or are volunteering and are involved in the PLP or the OBA or other parties for long periods of times. And I feel like maybe they could just go to the people that they already have access to and give them an opportunity to potentially run.
Yeah, that's an interesting point to look at it, because behind the scenes of everything is a lot of administration with quite a lot of women. I know personally, like being contacted through different emails from each party, it's generally women that always
and you'll be
speaking.
surprised, especially women who work directly with the government are exposed to everything that happens in the political process. And I'm sure that they would have the capability to probably take their post a step forward.
Yeah. So as we go on to talk more about women in representation, women in representation in politics, what's something that like really speaks to heart for you as to like pushing this agenda?
Well, I feel as though we also need to look to our younger generation, and I feel as though I benefited from such a great education in terms of my parents instilling in me the knowledge of all the powerful women in Bermuda, and I had access to all of these books and everything. So from a young age, I've always been around all of these great women, and one in particular who had a big impact on my life was Dame Jennifer Smith. So I feel as though we need to stress the importance of representation of women and all different types of people, no matter their background, because we need to have a reflection of our society to empower the younger generation, so that way they can look at it and say, I can do that too.
Awesome. Well, how do you feel about the other representation, as you just mentioned, about the young population? There's not many young people running any of these candidates and constituencies. There's maybe like 2 or 3 on each party that's under 30 years old, or maybe even sometimes none.
I feel like when it comes to a candidate interviewing process, that they tend to look at candidates who are picture perfect, who have experience in the community, experience in different sectors that can bring different components to the table. And I feel as though they may overlook young people because they don't really see that we have any of those values in terms of experience. But I feel as though a lot of young people, we bring a lot of fresh ideas. And I feel like right now, especially in 2020, we need more of that. We need more fresh ideas to move Bermuda forward.
Do you also think that there should be some sort of, let's say, program where right after you finish university, that we're incorporated into these businesses, into these political rounds? Because like you said, let's say maybe the opportunity is not there for some persons to be in that role, but for younger people, we need to get ourselves in there. But normally when we come back home from universities and things, we don't get a job right away because they say we need experience. But we have those fresh ideas, young ideas right there in our heads, and we can't give them anywhere because nobody wants someone without experience.
I completely agree with you, and I feel like people kind of denote the quality of academic experience. I know plenty of young people who have 2 master's degrees in engineering or the sciences, and to obtain those degrees, they have to do strenuous amounts of research and also have actual practical experience as well. And I feel as though on an international perspective, it kind of puts them out beyond a lot of the experiences that a lot of young people have here in Bermuda. So I would see them as an asset, and you would want to give them the opportunities to kind of push those global perspectives in Bermuda to kind of become more innovative.
Mm-hmm. And how would you feel about like having the opportunity, but making sure that you're actually paying us for ideas and not just using it as an excuse for experience just because they're young?
Right, and that's one thing that definitely frustrates me, when you put in the time and the finances to get these degrees. So wouldn't you want to be compensated for all of that time and effort and finances that you put into getting those degrees? And honestly, sometimes I feel like it's a slap in the face when somebody who comes back with all of these qualifications and they're given such a low salary or hourly wage, and they're looking to source out different opportunities to just make ends meet. It's definitely a shame.
Thank you. Yeah. And we'll be right back after this. And welcome back, everyone. And the last question I'm going to have for Ms. Peets while you're still here is, who do you think is going to win this election?
I honestly don't know. But if you look at the polls, I feel as though it may lean towards a PLP dominant government. And it's going to be very interesting because with the incorporation with the FDM, how will that look like is, I feel like, on everybody's minds in terms of the opposition.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that FDM would even win a spot?
I think that they could have the potentiality to win a couple of seats. Mm-hmm. Most likely not all 15, but they definitely can get a couple, I believe.
Awesome. Okay, well, I want to thank you so much for being here and having this conversation with me. And before we close out, is there anything that you want to say to the audience?
Yes, and especially to all of the young voters who are viewing this, I want to stress the importance of doing your personal research and to have your own conscience when voting. We need to break this system in terms of voting just because of our historical political affiliations. If your family or your parents particularly vote for PLP, OBA, or FDM if they're leaning towards that, make this decision for yourself. Your vote is a representation of your voice. Look at all of their platforms, do your research, and choose which platform you believe matches up with your own personal ideologies.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, honestly. And hope everyone was listening. If you registered to vote, exercise that right. All right, everyone. Have a good one. And thank you for joining in.